balance the scales. You know what I'm saying?
And y'all
Mm-hmm.
acting up too. All of my friends,
What?
oh man,
Acting up?
all of my friends that you shared a sign with.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, this is our season. They all acting up on the social media
Hey,
and on the interwebs right now.
hey, man, let me tell you something about us Libras, man. We're pragmatic. We're chill. We're good people. You know what I'm saying?
Unbalanced.
No, we're balanced. No, you unbalanced.
You're like,
That ain't
oh.
right. No, we even kill, bro. Balance doesn't
Mm,
mean up and down. It means just like flatline, bro. You chill, man.
okay.
Pragmatic, pragmatism, bro. Like Obama, you know what I'm saying? We chill. We just good. We let me tell you something about Libras though. Out of all of the billionaires, a higher percentage of them are Libras, and that's a fact. So how you know about that? Hmm? Yeah. So I'm just trying to give you
No.
some information, D Dubs, and let you go into the weekend with knowledge, brother. And knowledge is a base and it's a power too, bro.
I might have to fact check that.
I hear
Along
you.
with that.
Hey, October the 1st, baby. The birthday is in 8 days, man, a week from tomorrow. As we get set here for Esports Extra, the only live call in sports show talking traditional sports, esports, and gaming here. Live on a Thursday. We'll take your phone calls live 877-853-5247. That meeting ID, Esport Extra. That is 377-678-9872. I hit the pound button twice to join the show. Larry Ridley here, SNY TV, a little NBC Sports, a little Madden NFL, a little NBA 2K League. Got the Broskies with us today. We're playing 3-on-3, man. You know, this the what did they call it? The big three. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, the big
The
three.
big three.
We got the big three here today, man. We got the Broski, Derwin over the Hudson River, and Karnowski, right?
Canarsie. Canarsie, Brooklyn. Off of
I
Flat
told you
Face.
Libra's acting up, man. They coming
It
to
is.
get you,
It's
man.
Karnowski, right?
Canarsie.
We gotta make a swear jar for that, man.
And
Like
A
the
Willie
Washington
down.
football team.
I know, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Or the San Diego Chargers.
Right.
Hey, Willie down there in the DFW, guys. You guys ready to go? Because we got to get through this.
Yeah,
We got
let's
about
Get it cracking. Let's go.
I got about 40 minutes, man. Let's get on and get out here. The Jets on Thursday Night Football. We'll talk about that. NBA Finals last night. We'll get into that. Doc Rivers. News has changed in the last 24 hours. Looks like he is the head coach or about to be the head coach of the Sixers. Kobe and his shoes. We'll talk about the significance and the impact of that and the legacy that Kobe is leaving in the NBA bubble. Steelers and Titans. That thing's been a moving target the last 3 days. Information has changed every single day today. And we have a definite when it comes to the schedule makers there. Thursday Night Football, we just talked about it. 2 0-3 teams, first time in Thursday Night Football history. We got 2 0-3 teams, bad teams. Glad nobody will have to watch this inside of a football stadium. So stay in the comforts of your own home. You don't have to go to MetLife Stadium and watch this crap tonight. Earl Thomas, just like we talked about yesterday, guys, pretty much exactly what happened to Earl Thomas. We'll get into that. Also, Call of Duty, Overwatch League, some news with those guys. Remember, they had the franchise fees, somewhere around 20 million, upwards of 25 million. Well, during this pandemic, no live events. Those guys are acting just like real owners of NFL and professional sports teams. Like, can we get some relief? So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, compete forever on Black News Channel this weekend. Episode 18 is the Foxwoods Fall Series final. It was a really good event. $2,000 on the line. Had the top 6 players. Gave away free VIP tickets to the Patriots game last year to some very deserving fans. We'll talk about that. All right, let's start at the top. NBA Finals Game 1. That's all I got. The Heat, they're without the Knicks. Probably the two of their 3 most experienced players, or 2 of their 3 best players. Well, I guess you can put Hero in there. But no Bam, it looks like, in Game 2. No Goran Dragic, it looks like. He's got the plantar fasciitis in there. Was it plantar what?
Plantar
fasciitis. Okay. That's the tear in his plantar fasciitis. Exactly.
His foot hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Plantar fasciitis is another term too. But he has that tear in his foot. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back. Bam had the messed up hand. He hurt against the Celtics. Then he's got the shoulder strain. The Heat looked outclassed, 75-30 run. Hey, Willie, really? This is what we're getting in the NBA Finals. Give LeBron his 4th ring. And let's just move on, man. This is over. Are we even going to get a gentleman's sweep? Can the Heat get one without those 2 guys? Can they really get one? LeBron's laughing. He's laughing right now.
It'll be hard to get one without those 2 guys, because what you're looking at is in the playoffs, Goran Dragic is their leading scorer, right? So missing, even with Tyler Hero, with the way Bam has been playing, with the way Jimmy Butler has been closing games, you're losing your leading scorer. And then in Bam, you're losing your guy that's leading you in rebounding, leading you in assists. And that's a big one. And we talk about that one a lot. And leading you in block shots, leading you in almost everything. So when you take out your leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading assist guy, leading guy in blocks, your defensive anchor as well, when you take that away from the equation, that's really, really tough to overcome. What it reduces the Heat to is entirely a perimeter-based team. And, you know, that's important for me because when you're watching that, in particular, if you are a perimeter-based team and you're going to win games, you have to be so strong on the perimeter. And that's what Golden State did when they had Kevin Durant. But with Kevin Durant, they had a guy that could score in the paint, and they had a guy that can protect the rim. Kevin Durant did those things. So losing Bam is really, really big for them. And I hate to see it go like that. And, you know, one of the things I'll say really quick, too, is when that lead, they didn't give up that lead because those guys were out.
Well, a lot of people realize, you know, the Heat were up 13. I forgot all
up,
about
yeah.
that.
Look, they were looking really good. Yeah.
They were looking good. See, the thing about these basketball games, they're like 48 minutes, you know, not 8 minutes or 10 minutes. They're like 48. So, hey, Willie, really? 75-30? That's what we got?
Again, man.
You, me, and Derwin, and two other people here in Bayonne, New Jersey. I think we can probably give up a 75-30 run.
The Lakers clamped in. You know, they got those easy buckets with those stops. And, you know, the other thing, too, from a balance standpoint, again, we were talking about this a lot, especially what got the Celtics was the fact that they didn't have that balance, point guard play and big play. And now you're looking at Miami again, that balance is gone. And then what makes the Lakers so potent is that balance. You got LeBron playing the point, then you add Rondo in that, and then you get that play from Anthony Davis. So it's not just having two stars. The balance and what you do to a defense and constantly make them operate in an emergency situation when they have to account for you on the perimeter and account for you in the paint. And Anthony Davis did most of his work in the paint. So
that's 34 last night, probably 45.
Yeah,
he
did.
He
did most of his work in the paint. So when you have that balance and you can't stop that, it's really, really hard. And I thought this would be a tough series for the Lakers.
Well, we saw, Derwin, exactly what me and A. Willie were talking about yesterday. Will the Lakers go big? And they did a little bit last night. And you had Jay Crowder trying to guard either Anthony Davis or Dwight Howard, man. Derwin, I was asking you guys, I was pleading with you guys, show me a way that this will go more than 5. I don't believe you guys.
Well, you know what?
So why do I even want to watch this?
I felt like they were showing away early in the game when they were up by 13. I felt like they took some shots, not so much to put them away early, but they just, when they were up 13, they took a couple of threes. They didn't go down.
Feel like the Lakers were threatened.
Right. And then once the Lakers got back into it, they just started to roll. And at this point, I mean, I hate to say it, I wouldn't even watch.
You get outscored by 45 during a regular season NBA game on a Tuesday in Sacramento. It doesn't happen.
I mean, and then you got Butler rolls his ankle. Really, it looked really bad when he rolled his ankle. And now they're losing players. If I'm the NBA, I'm not too happy about this because you're probably going to lose viewerships because people are going to feel like I feel right now. I don't think the Heat have a chance. If they don't have the players, this is going to be a cakewalk.
I didn't watch any of the game. I watched about 3 minutes last night, and that's when it went from pretty much even, and then they were up by like damn near 20. What was it, 17-18 at halftime? I'm like, I'm done. I was watching baseball, and you know it's tough when Larry Ridley's watching freaking baseball.
I was bouncing back and forth myself between the Yankees in this game. And
that was a compelling game.
You should have just stayed on the Yankees. What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, I had a 6-year-old trying to get him straight. He got a test in the morning. He don't want to sleep. I'm just going back and forth.
That's bouncing back between your son and the Yankee game, not Yankee game and NBA Finals.
I got to, because you're going to talk about it on this show, I got to look at something.
I just told you what happened. 75-30 run.
You're going to shoot like that for the whole series.
And then when you look,
what does that talk about?
The Lakers hit like 15, they hit 15 threes, and then they missed only 2 free throws, went to the line like 27. I mean, when you're doing that, you're doing that, that's a perfect storm for them.
You're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat them. Exactly. It was funny because watching social media last night, you're seeing people basically saying, talking about the Lakers' deficiencies from three and how good Miami has been. I think they were number 2 all year, one of the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
The Lakers are the worst team in the bubble. The only team to shoot, less than 30% or 33% or whatever it was. Yeah, it didn't
Low
matter.
free throw shooting percentage as well.
Didn't matter.
But we've seen a couple of times throughout this playoffs that there'll be a game or two the Lakers shoot beyond their means. They'll shoot like that really good for one particular night. The next night, tomorrow night, they probably won't even shoot that well as they did last night.
But if they own the boards,
that's hard for anybody to do.
But if they own the boards like 56-30, a plus 20, 25 on the boards, and that evens it out right there too. Second chance points. So it's like, it's classic big brother and little brother. It's like me putting my hand on my kid's forehead. Like, dude, I mean, it doesn't matter how hard you swing or how much you charge. You ain't going nowhere, dude.
It's David and Goliath, and right now David has no slingshot.
I was about to say that.
It's broken. It's broken. You know, you going out there with not enough weapons, you losing 2 players. It's going to be extremely tough. They might get dog walked. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have some fight in them, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
You just said dog walked. I was going to say boat raced. I was going to say skull drug. You name the adjective, whatever you want to put in there. I think it would be a minor miracle if the Heat can win a game. I really do. I'm just saying a game, not the series or a couple of games or make it go 6. Just win a game. Give us something to watch, and then I'll watch the game after that. It'd be nice if the Heat could win game 2. What is it, tomorrow night?
Yes.
Right? It'd be nice if they can win that game, and then I'll watch on Sunday. No, I won't watch on Sunday because I got the NFL. I ain't watching it. I'm not watching it. I've just made up my mind. Hey, Willie, you gonna watch this? You gonna watch this carnage?
Come on,
you gonna watch
man.
this?
Come on, LL.
I'm about competition, bro.
I'm married to the game.
Married to the game.
You married to the purple and gold. You married to the purple and gold.
Well, that too, right? Like so.
What's it like working for Phoenix, knowing you got harboring feelings towards the Lakers? What the hell's wrong with you, Willie?
Man,
come on,
you know what's crazy? Hey, you know what's crazy about that? What's so crazy about that is my first time experiencing that was being born in St. Louis, and then we're winning the World Series in Boston, right, and playing the Cardinals.
Cardinals 04, yeah.
When people are signing
and again in 13, right?
Right. So when people are signing your check, it's amazing how quickly those allegiances go out the window.
Hey, Larry. Hey, Willie's the type. He was in Phoenix the whole time with a Laker T-shirt underneath his.
No.
Hey, you know he was wearing purple socks, but purple is part of the color scheme for the sun.
It is, but I didn't. But, you all know what it is. Cash moves everything around me. You know what it is, right?
Yeah, but I also know about allegiances too. It's hard to get rid of that. It's hard to suppress it at times too. I know you can put it, you can hide it a little bit, but it's still there.
Not when they're beating the brakes off of you. It's not.
All right, let's keep it rolling. We'll keep it in the NBA. Doc Rivers, we talked about that, left, parted ways with the Clippers a couple days ago. He and Steve Ballmer decided to part ways and go separate ways there. We'll see who the Clippers will get. Probably Ty Lue probably will get that job, or maybe the Pelly's job, the Pels down there in New Orleans. Doc Rivers, we said it. We talked about it on Tuesday. Philly's probably the best fit. We liked New Orleans, but I'm like, you probably want to go to Philly because you're probably going to get some time there, and it's a ready-made roster with those 2 All-Stars there. Your thoughts here? The news breaking last night, I think, was our guy, Jason Dumas, your boy from San Francisco. Jason, I think, actually was one of the first stories I saw that broke it. He was like, look, my sources are telling me not only is Doc interviewing today, he's the guy who's going to get the job. They're offering him the job. So then it just came out about an hour ago that he has accepted that position there. Don't know about the details. Anybody know about the terms or anything?
I don't know about the terms.
Probably be 4 or 5 years. Yeah, probably be 4 or 5 years likely. I love it. I like it. I want to see if Doc can if he can get a couple of old heads, a couple of shooters. I think Philly can be right there. I'm never a believer in Milwaukee. Boston will always be a small team that's cute and nice, but you can take advantage of them. Toronto, they are what they are. They're scrappy. They're like the Miami Heat. Just got to put them on the forehead. Miami's still a little young. They're sort of, all or nothing. And I was going to say Brooklyn. Absolutely right. Brooklyn is the team that I think that could be there. We still want to see how they sort of, play together and things of that nature. But Philly could be right there. I think right now they're probably second or third best team in the league. In the East, if you get Doc and you get him a shooter. Your thoughts, guys, on Doc going to Philly?
Go ahead, Willie.
Go ahead, D. No, I'm listening,
Well,
brother. Go ahead.
One, Jason Dumas, he's from Philly, so I'm not surprised that he might have broke that story. But I was thinking about it before the news broke, and I was beginning to really think maybe Doc needs to take a year off, because who's to say Philly or New Orleans is the right job? Because when I look at, well, I don't like New Orleans from the standpoint of your best player is uh,
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson. He has not proven to me that he can stay healthy. So you're building the team around a guy that has not shown you that he can stay on the court. That's one.
Good
Two,
point.
he goes to Philadelphia now. He walks through the door already with a problem with his 2 stars. So the first thing he has to do is fix that.
Well, you need a proven coach to sort of put those guys in timeout and stop them from butting heads and find some common ground.
Right. And Philly is not Los Angeles. Philly to me is almost like New York.
But he coached in Boston, so
yeah, but
Doc
he also
is
has Doc. I love Doc. He's a good coach, but also he's now created these little things for himself, little somewhat demons from the standpoint of
what 3-1 leads.
3-1 leads he's lost. He hasn't been out of the second round since 2012, 2011.
Yeah,
so he's got
12,
some demons he's got to resurrect. And Philly can be unforgiving. You know, if they're looking at him as the savior to rectify this ship, he's first got to deal with his 2 stars, get them on the right page, and then possibly get a couple of players in there. And they're going to be looking for some dividends quick and early. They're not going to be, they might not give him much time.
Right. You're 41-41 ain't going to cut it in Philly. And plus, not only that, you got to perform in the playoffs. They have to go past the second round, which has sort of been his demon in the ceiling. You're right. Recently in the last 8 years, I believe last time Boston, when they went to the conference finals, blew that 3-2 lead, the infamous LeBron James 45-point game in Boston game 6 when they were up and trying to dethrone the Miami Heat in 2012. Hey, Willie, your thoughts here? Doc Rivers going to Philly. I like it. Get him a couple of players, a shooter. This could be a team that can definitely contend there. And here's the guy. Look, say what you want. If it was a white coach, you'd be like, oh, he hasn't done anything, but he got that ring. He's a championship caliber coach.
Right.
You can't take that away from him. He's been to 2 NBA finals.
No question. And for me, one of the things that when we talked about in Boston, when he got the job and when he was coaching in Boston and they made their move and they got the big 3, it wasn't just getting the big 3, it was the timing of it as well, meaning that all 3 of those guys, meaning Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, had something left in the tank. But at the same time, even though they all had something left in the tank, they all had accomplished virtually everything that you can accomplish as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So they all had something in the tank and they were all ready to sacrifice. And you remember what they're saying was,
Ubuntu.
There it is, right? So with that being said, I certainly expect him to leverage that experience and rely on that when he's talking with those 2 players. Are there some things that both of those guys have to get better at? Absolutely. But at the same time, I feel like as well, Doc has a great relationship with Kevin Garnett, and Kevin Garnett has been known to show up as a consultant at different places, right? So the first thing that I would imagine that Doc is going to do is get Kevin Garnett with Joel Embiid, right? And make sure some of those lessons, some of those little things that make you a champion, all of those things that you need to bring to the table, being consistent with your energy, right? If you are
bringing it every day in practice and making it a brotherhood. That's what KG was about. And he didn't care. He didn't care if he scored 25 or if he scored 10. He didn't care. He just wanted to win.
Right. So I think he would be leaning on some of that. Doc is pretty smart, so I think he'll do that. I also think he'll assemble a pretty good staff where Doc has been pretty good about delegating. And one of the reasons why Tom Thibodeau has been able to get jobs was because when the Celtics won that title, people talked about Tom Thibodeau as the defensive coordinator more than they talked about Doc.
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, I think Doc will do a good job with that. To your point, LL, they do have to add some shooters to the team. Also, too, I think they need to get a secondary decision maker, ball handler to take some of that pressure off of Ben Simmons. And this is a huge summer for Ben Simmons as well. So I like it for Doc. I think even though, there are some things that he needs to exercise, I think his resume says that he doesn't need to take rebuilding jobs either, right? So with that being said, I like this move. I'm happy for him, and I'll cheer for the Sixers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the Sixers as well. We'll see about the terms of this deal. I got to be bare minimum 3 years. I would say probably 4 or 5 years.
I would say,
We'll
yeah.
see about that. And Ben coming off the injury, we'll see if those guys can have a truce here. Do you guys want to win, or you guys want to keep snickering and sniping at each other, bickering, and all the other things out there in Philly? It's time for you guys to win, man. And you can actually, you know, they've both got these great brands. Your brand can grow when you're a winner. I don't understand why
No
guys don't
question.
understand about the power of the we instead of the me.
They're young though. These guys are
Yeah.
still fairly
Yeah,
young.
it's getting to the point now. It's like young after about I'll give you the first 3 years. After that, it's like you're too old for that. Stop
Yeah,
that.
that's
You
true.
know?
But
And
sometimes
you had
guys,
a taste of it, right? And you've had a taste of having some success and then losing.
Right.
Mhm.
Especially
So,
the way they lost last year to
right,
Toronto. The guys
right.
were crying and they felt that. It's like, okay, maybe this will spur Philly on. Oh, they regressed. And then they did have some injury issues, but once again, they took a step back.
yeah.
So
Sometimes when you're young, when you're a little bit younger in age, it takes you a while to finally get it.
yep.
So we don't know if those two guys get it yet. When you talk about Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and some of those, and some of the other
Ray Allen.
guys,
Ray Allen. Yeah,
they
guys
were
all in their early
older.
30s. All in
They
their
were
early 30s.
seasoned. They
Mhm.
we
And
did
they knew
every,
their window was about 3 years. And boy,
right.
they caught lightning in the bottle. Probably should have won 3 NBA finals. But you see what happens when you lose players. You get an injury,
Right.
injuries as well. They're injury prone towards the end as well. So uh, Kobe looming large over the NBA finals, the NBA bubble. We saw Pau Gasol as well. Of course, prayers up to Kobe out there. Um, Kobe Bean Bryant. We saw Pau Gasol, virtual fans rocking the old school Kobe Bryant #8 jersey. A lot of players are wearing the Kobe fives, if I'm not mistaken, right? You had like 13 members of the Lakers wearing them, and not only that, we're showing pictures here. It's not only AD or Dwight; it's everybody in the Lakers organization and throughout the NBA. We saw
Mhm.
PJ Tucker. A lot of NBA players are wearing the Kobe fives. Made me feel good, guys, about the
Mhm.
respect that he's garnering and how these guys feel about Kobe Bryant and also showing the togetherness, I guess. Being an NBA family, a one family there down the bubble. What do you guys think when you saw that these guys, these young men, were wearing these sneakers and honoring Kobe Bean Bryant?
Um,
Um, go ahead,
go,
D. Go
no,
ahead.
you're the Laker guy. I'm gonna leave the floor to you. Go ahead.
No, for me, it was great to see. I needed that pickup because I don't want to be too sad and bring the mood down. But a couple of days ago, Vanessa, Kobe Bryant's wife, posted their daughter Capri with Kobe's picture, and that broke my heart. And she
Mm,
was saying "Dada," and it broke my
Mm.
heart. And that was very tough. It was very tough, and especially we're all fathers here, so it makes you think about a lot. Think about your own mortality.
yeah.
And so that broke my heart. So to see these guys wear those shoes, I needed that. And again, that's selfish, but I certainly needed that. But to watch all these guys wear these shoes and think about this, guys, we're all from the era where you know what the King Michael Jordan would say when other guys were wearing his shoes. What are you wearing my shoes for? I'm about to crack that neck, right? So guys would wear, and also too, we were probably a little more competitive, probably a little more closed-minded there. You wouldn't wear another guy's shoes,
Shoes, yeah.
right? You just wouldn't do it. But that started to change a little bit. People would wear Kobe shoes, and
Mm,
and early in his career, I can say this: when he was at Adidas, when people would wear his shoes, he would crush them. He would crush them. Because again, as you were saying, D, being young, you're not thinking about your legacy. You're like, all right, man, you got my shoes on. I'm about to get
right.
you. Right.
There's a
So
price.
Yeah.
question, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's good to see. One of the things for me that when I wore 23, and there were times in my career when I didn't wear 23, and the feeling that I had when I didn't wear 23 versus when I wore 23 was completely different. It's almost like there's a bullseye on your back, right? When you're wearing that 23, people are like, hey man, if you can't rock, you can't wear that number.
Right.
And so there's a certain energy that comes when you're playing with Kobe's, right? And when you're wearing them. So again, it was great to see. I certainly needed that pickup. It speaks to his legacy and his influence. And I think that influence will continue.
Yeah. D-Dubs, your thoughts, man. Kobe sneakers, the fives all over the NBA bubble and the finals.
I think it's a beautiful thing. It's really sad. He has a little girl, a baby, that's never gonna know her daddy. and just the outpouring of love that I've seen everyone show from the NBA around the world for Kobe Bryant is just one is refreshing. I wish that we would have really given him his flowers when he was here because he's getting a lot of flowers.
I did.
Yeah, over the last couple of
No, I'm
months.
kidding, man.
But it's a beautiful thing, he touched so many people, so many lives. And just to hear him speak in videos now, how he did a lot of good off the court as well. He's just an inspiration and a role model. So I commend everyone that's, still, it's easy to forget people when they're gone, but his legacy lives on forever. And it's just a great thing to see.
Kobe Bean Bryant all over the NBA Finals again, and it happens to be that the Lakers are back in the NBA Finals for the first time in 10 years. The last time they were there, they won it back-to-back titles off the strength and off the shooting arm of Kobe Bryant and his leadership in '09 and 10. So good stuff there in the NBA. Going from the NBA to the NFL, Steelers Titans. So this thing's been vacillating all week. Now the game has been canceled, postponed. No Week 4 game there. They were thinking about playing Monday or Tuesday, Monday night, early on at like 5. Before the other Monday night game, having a doubleheader on Monday night after Week 1 for the first time in a long time, or pushing it to Tuesday. Now they're saying no, they're going to postpone it. The Titans, another, 11 total now? I believe 5 players and 6 personnel people now. Mm-hmm. So another 2 people today. I think they had 8 or 9 going into today. Another couple, 1 player and a personnel person testing positive for COVID. So they're going to cancel this week. Steelers and Titans will play. They're thinking about Week 7, somewhere late October. And then the Ravens and the Steelers actually play the following week, would have buys in Week 8, so then they would be able to play as well. So they're trying to work the schedule out. Your thoughts here on the impact of COVID and how it and it's got to be serious if the NFL is moving games around. They don't like to do this.
Yeah, I mean, they got to do it. Whatever you can do to have everyone be safe, you got to do it. So the bye sits well with me, giving them all a bye right now. Juggle whatever you got to juggle for the upcoming weeks in the schedule. It's going to be really tough, but NFL's going to find a way to make it work. So it's and they know they prepared for this somewhat, but this might happen again. It's only Week 3. We got 16 weeks in a football season.
I told you, anything more than about 3, man. You get more than 3, 4, 5, it's like, okay, we got to shut it down. That's too many.
Yeah, so we just got to hope and pray that there's no more outbreaks, but it's now October. We're in flu season. Yeah. That second wave, I was just actually having a conversation with my wife because her best friend works in a hospital. Mm-hmm. And she was just telling us how she works at a hospital in New York City, how they had 2 floors for COVID patients. They had just shut down the second floor because all the COVID patients were gone. And just like a couple of days ago, they had to reopen it. Mm-hmm. So this might be this second wave we've been hearing about. So
the cases in New York City, over 1,000 last week.
Yeah, they've gone up because we want to be under 1%, and I think it's risen to about 3%. So that's another thing that keep your eyes on because if it gets too high, Governor Cuomo, he'll shut it down again.
Shut it down. Murphy, too, here in Jersey as well. They work on the same accord. This pact here in the Northeast. Your thoughts real quickly, hey, Willie? Titans and Steelers, bye weeks this week, taking down these necessary precautions.
Yeah, team, I say this a lot. It's part of the reason why even before when we had the last CBA negotiations, this is why you need lifetime health care, man. Like you just don't need to mess around with this because you guys these guys are out here playing because of course we got to get the TV money so everybody can get paid. Absolutely. But you're out here playing. And as you're out here playing, you're dealing with the disease that we haven't figured out what's the elixir for this? What's the cure for this? We haven't figured it out. If we haven't figured out the cure, we certainly haven't figured out the side effects. And some of that stuff is starting to trickle in now, and it continues to trickle in. And now, you're also hearing about the other thing that really alarmed me is you're hearing about with Mizzou, you're hearing about Mizzou saying, wait a minute, some people aren't even reporting everything here. And people are playing games with this. Right. So now it makes you question everything else. Like, are other people playing games with it? Are the numbers higher than what people are saying they are, et cetera? Right. We really don't
saw that
know.
in Florida. We saw that in Florida, too, fudging with the numbers, especially down in South Florida.
Yeah. So the Missouri football coach was saying that, like, teams in the SEC are playing games with the numbers. Right. And
I believe it, too. Down South, they want to lower everything. Exactly.
They want to play at all costs.
Right. So that's why I'm of the mindset of never, of course, this is a collision sport and all of the things that come with it. You can speak to that. I played when I was young. I didn't play it in college. But, man, when you add that with COVID, these guys need to have lifetime health care. They need that Roger Goodell deal.
Well, we've been talking about this for years with the NFL. But they do get a pension, especially if you play a certain amount of years. I know Dante Stallworth was talking about how Belichick brought him in that final year. He tore up his knee or he got hurt, but Belichick kept him on the roster for the rest of the season so he can get that 10th year. That's pension and things of that nature. So Belichick did him a solid because he came over and helped the Patriots get to the Super Bowl a couple of times when he was there. And then they brought him back that final season. I believe it was 2011 or 12, one of the two seasons. It was right before I left.
But you guys know this. Most organizations don't operate like that.
No.
Right?
No,
that's the issue.
Yeah. Speaking of the NFL, Thursday night football tonight, Jets and Broncos. Ew. Sneaker, 0-3 teams. Sam Darnold and the Jets. I mentioned this last night on SNY. I'll probably mention it again because I just think it's crazy. The Jets are the only team in the NFL that have never led this year. That's how bad they've been. They've never had a damn lead. Let me tell you something. If you can't have a lead, you can't win. No. So tonight, the Broncos are actually favored by a point, if you can believe that. I thought that was weird when I mentioned that last night. I was like, really?
I'm picking them.
Favored by a point.
I'm picking him.
What a third string QB, Brett Rippon.
Yeah, I'm picking him because let me tell you something.
You're probably right.
Sam Darnold, early on, I thought Sam Darnold.
Jamison Crowder's going to play. That's his binky. So
that's his binky.
Now.
Yeah, but he's got to show you something. Even if he doesn't have great weapons around him, if you're a really good quarterback, you'll show glimpses of something. And he's got to start to show something. He was his fourth year. Come on. I mean, he's not going to hang around. His seat is going to start to get really hot. And they're going to start to look to move on from Sam Darnold. As crazy as it might sound, because he was like top pick. But I'm interested to see what Rippon looks like. Brett Rippon?
Brett Rippon.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this young guy looks like. And Denver's defense is not too bad. But, not being able to lead at all this year, that's somewhat of a detriment to Sam Darnold. He's got to try to do something to help that team.
Sure. So you got the Broncos. Willie, real quickly, who you got tonight? Denver or Jets, Jets?
It's a tough one. Is Le'Veon Bell playing tonight?
No.
Well,
Frank Gore, baby.
Broncos, I'm taking the Broncos. and I think we'll get a heavy dose of Melvin Gordon and Royce Freeman and those guys. That's what I'm expecting. And I'm taking the Broncos. But I'll say this for the Jets, and I'm saying this, guys, as a USC football fan. What are they doing to USC quarterbacks, man? I know accountability, of course.
Sanchez,
you got to put something on the players. But at the same time, as much as that quarterback position gets that credit, it's also a dependent position. You're dependent on the organization and all the things that are around you. And I'm looking at Sam Darnold, to your point, D, early in his career, there was promise. Right. And there were some flashes. And now you're seeing less and less of that. So now, I guess that's what the smarter people have to figure out. Yep. Is it mostly him or is it mostly them? And, it's just really odd watching it for sure.
Sure. Juju Smith-Schuster came out. Of course, they played together. USC went to the Rose Bowl in 2017. He said, look, Sam Darnold can ball. I wouldn't mind playing with him. So we'll see. Maybe down the road they can hook up. But the Jets, they do get back some pieces. Jamison Crowder, Mekhi Becton, the huge offensive tackle from Louisville. Got Fant coming back tonight. Also Quincy Wilson, one of their corners that plays a lot. So they got 4 guys coming back this week. We'll see. Look, if the Jets can't win this game, I don't know if they can win a game on their schedule. I really do mean that. Sam Darnold can't throw 3 picks. Brett Rippon was 8 for 8 in the game against whoever they played last week against I forget who they played last week. Tampa. The last pass he did throw a pick, though, so he was 8 of 9 at 1 pick. But if you can't be the third string QB, and once again, folks, this is the backup to the backup. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
but Denver's got to be excited because their first 3 games they play some tough teams. Open up with Tennessee, they play some tough teams. And now
Pittsburgh,
you get the Jets.
Tampa,
Pittsburgh and Tampa. Now you get the Jets. They at least they get a little bit of a breather.
Well, and then you look at their schedule. They got Kansas City. They got New England coming up. So both of these teams are looking at dude, if y'all ain't careful, it's gonna be 0-5, 1-7, and then really
the sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah. Speaking of the sweepstakes, the Earl Thomas sweepstakes, real quickly, is it just what we thought? We saw what the head coach with the Houston Texans said yesterday, Bill O'Brien. Basically, they at the last minute didn't want to bring him in. You're hearing that they've sort of, did some sort of character checks on him. They're worried about him being a cancer in the locker room and all of that entails and bringing them into their locker room. And then you've got the COVID stuff. So they're talking about both of them, but I just think the COVID stuff's a little convenient now. Bottom line is he's 30, 31, a little injury prone. Freelance is a little too much, and he's can be an issue or has been an issue in the past in certain locker rooms. There's your answer right there.
Yeah. So to ask yourself, is it worth the possible headache you can get? And they need help in that secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Houston Texans do. And I guess at this point, they're feeling that
Indianapolis could use some help too. Yep.
It's not really worth it. They're probably feeling it's not really worth it. So,
To your point, D, like I think for me, it was one telling that Houston was actually, it talks about their desperation in terms of they were entertaining this, because Bill O'Brien isn't really on, the strongest ground to begin with. So if you're willing to bring in a guy that could disrupt the boat, and rock the boat even more when you're not on the strongest ground to begin with, it says a lot. And I think, maybe a team with a stronger culture, maybe a guy that has a little more security, maybe. But one of the other things for me and this goes back to my scouting days that I think about a lot, when I talk to young players about, hey, when they're like, hey, what does it take to play in the NBA? For the vast majority of players, 99.9% of the players that play, I guess you could say so 100% of the players, you have to be better than the problems that you produce. And the second that you're not better than the problems that you produce, that's when they get rid of you. And so when you're looking at Earl Thomas, it's like, yeah, maybe we will deal with some of those things that he brings, because to your point, D, the production level was what it was.
Right.
But if that production level starts to dissipate, and even forget you're bringing more problems to your production, if it's just even, the people are like, nah, I'm good.
You hit it right on the head. It's about production. If you're producing, the people are turn the other way. They'll turn the cheek because you're producing on that football field. You're helping them win. And at this point, he's like 30-something years old, early 30s. Look, he's had a couple of injuries the last couple of years. He's had a couple of episodes this year, got sent home. John Harbaugh and the Ravens, that's a top organization, highly respected. They sent him home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent him home.
Great locker room, great culture, absolutely.
Yeah, that says something. Once you get the little digging around and talking to people, it's probably not sounding well for Earl Thomas.
Yeah. We saw Kale's 2012 in the chat. I think that is Kelly Wells Brinkley, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that, right? Kale's 2012, right? Olympian in 2012, bronze medalist, hurtler. I'm going to shout out to Kale's 2012. I think that's you, Kelly Wells Brinkley. Let us know in the chat if that is you. We miss you, baby. We'll see you on Tuesday. Real quickly, last one before we get out here. Call of Duty Overwatch League. Franchise fees, some 20 to 25 million that these leagues are paying. I know the Mets, SNY, 20 million for the New York Excelsior, one of the better teams in Overwatch League, probably the best team on Overwatch League, although they come up short in the playoffs, it seems like. But they are the regular season kings for certain. Now they got the COD League that was supposed to start this year with the franchises. They wanted to do some traveling throughout the world and the globe. Of course, the pandemic, of course, slowing that down or actually halting that. Your thoughts on Activision Blizzard giving these guys a reprieve, letting them sort of, hang out a little bit and take a little pause here and get some, a little breathing room when it comes to these transactions and franchise fees that these, I guess these teams and these clubs are paying on a yearly basis, so they can push it back to 2021, 2022, something like that.
I think it's needed because, everybody's been hurt in their pockets by COVID. COVID has hurt pretty much everyone. The NFL has the ability, even though they're losing money in parking, losing money at concession and ticket sales, they're able to recoup money other ways, through their TV deals. Well, with this league, they were counting on ticket sales and all this other people, thousands of people coming to see their events.
Overwatch, they charge like $30 to come watch their events out there in LA in the damn studio.
That money's gone. They have no money to do that. So without that kind of money, there's no other way to generate revenue. You have to give some of these teams a pass and give them a while a couple of months or whatever it is to come up with their fees, to be able to pay their fees, because that money's not coming in.
Hey, Willa, what do they say? You can't get blood from a turnip?
That's it. So, so you touched on something, LL, that I really wanted to talk about when you started talking about, we've talked about this before, but how these esports leagues are starting to mirror professional sports teams, right? So offer a message to all the players, as we say, message, right? Message to all the players. Since these leagues are mirroring professional sports teams, you better make sure you get some representation. Because what ends up happening is if that bill gets tacked on, the other way in order to make sure that you pay these franchise fees, that these teams get that money, is that these players have to do other things from streaming. They have to do other marketing experiences and stuff. So we've actually seen live where players are playing for a respective team and they actually fall out while they're playing, right? Because they're going, hey, what does Waka Flocka say? They're going hard in the paint.
In the paint, yeah. Well, right? And you see a lot of the nutrition and, Skins GG, one of our sponsors here on the show. They've got this cream, a little CBD oil in it. It's topical. Helps with the, irritation, helps with focus, helps with pain, discomfort, things of that nature. So a lot of these organizations are helping these teams. I know, what's the name? The Sixers, Dignitas. They have the Sixers nutritionists and team doctors working with those guys as well.
Yeah, you have to do that because, again, if you're going to the point of exhaustion and if you guys want to know something, take a look at sometimes what goes on in some of the gaming houses. Not all of them, right? But some of these prominent gaming houses, take a look at what goes on in there. So with that being said, you got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And especially if your team is now owing a double bill on the back end, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
All right, good stuff, guys. Let's wrap it up here. Compete Forever on Black News Channel this weekend, episode 18 on the Black News Channel. You can get Black News Channel on Dish Network, Comcast Xfinity, Charter Spectrum, and also DirecTV Now and AT&T. Saturday and Sunday, both days, 11 a.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. Also 4 airings this weekend. Our show will be the Compete Forever Madden NFL Foxwoods Fall Series, $2,000 on the line. Top 6 players competed in that event back, I think it was last November, if I'm not mistaken. Great event we had. We gave away free tickets to a VIP experience to a Patriots game. I think the fan went to the Patriots and Bills game later that year in December. Got to meet some players, got to be on the field, got some parking, free hotel stay, and got to stay in a suite as well. So good VIP experience there. Thanks to the folks at Pepsi. Game Fuel. Once again, Compete Forever. Black News Channel this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Eastern on Black News Channel. All right, guys, anything? Let's get out of here. Anybody? I got to go. Anybody got to go? I got to go.
Good.
You got to go?
Good. Shout out.
Snook and Diddy.
Snook and Diddy. Also, Serena Grace, Renee Montgomery, although you don't mess with us no more.
She big timing us.
She act like she the only one got something to do.
Yeah.
Have you not seen my schedule? You not seen A. Willie's schedule? Durham's schedule? You ain't the only one got business and stuff to do. I still love you. You're still the queen of esports, you always will be. And also the baby girl out there. Makeup artist to the stars. Kimberly Cruz, KC Beauty. Check her out. If you want your face beat to the gods, check her out. Guys, throw them up. A's.
Hey.
Shout out to OG.
Shout out to OG.
What up, Kelly?
As well. See you guys. Thanks for watching esportsXTRA, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports and esports and gaming. We'll see you guys Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Have a good weekend. We out.